what probably should be a local story is getting talked about like a national story. Hi, everyone, and welcome. You're listening to the Sports Judge. The amount of drama that has happened in Philly regarding Joel Embiid is crazy. ESPN first reported that the 76ers star Joel Embiid got into a heated altercation with Philadelphia columnist Marcus Hayes following Philadelphia's 124-107 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. Embiid singled out Hayes by name along with other critics who questioned his willingness to play after he sat out at the beginning of the season to manage his left knee injury. I don't know Marcus Hayes personally, but he is a great columnist. I read a lot of his work. He does great work. And, Hayes is what I wanted to be for Los Angeles when I wanted to be a sports columnist for the Los Angeles Times, covering all the teams I grew up watching and rooting for: Lakers, Dodgers, Trojans, Kings, and now the Rams. It was my dream to one day write columns in a local newspaper for our fans here in Southern California. I'm not here to call Marcus Hayes out because that's not my place. It's not what I'm here to do. But I will say this: to bring up a man's family in an article is a low blow. Say what you want about a player, but don't ever put my family in your mouth. Don't talk about my people. Don't bring them into this. You can say he sucks. You can question his health and say whatever you want about him as a player, but to bring up his dead brother, that's crossing the line. I'm not calling out Hayes, but he was out of pocket. You would like to think that a journalist wouldn't write about someone's family. I think you overstepped the line just to sell papers, to get people to subscribe. A columnist's job is to give his opinion and tell the reader a story. You're the voice of the city, and your job description is to engage the sports fan, to sell papers and get readers to subscribe, to attract the readers, to inform, to give the fan a different perspective, and also provide color to the commentary in a unique way no other writer can. Again, I'm not here to insult another journalist, but Hayes was wrong, and apparently, from what I hear from people in Philly, he has been or has had a bad reputation for this kind of thing. I don't blame Joel Embiid at all in this particular incident. If I were Joel Embiid, I would have reacted the same way probably. Definitely unacceptable. You're just asking for trouble when you talk about someone's family, and Hayes should be glad it was just a shove. If you want to talk about me and my health, that's fine. But there's no need for you to mention any family member or loved one of mine. Criticize the player, but don't bring his family in it. They have nothing to do with it, with him. They have nothing to do with that player at all. And you can't really expect Embiid to act cool towards you when you bring up his deceased brother and son. So I'm with Joel on this one. Leave my family out of it. I'm not saying that shoving the columnist was justified, but I can see why Embiid would do it. And we live in a sensitive world. It's like, oh my gosh, he said this about me. Many of today's athletes are entirely sensitive, so you have to be careful what you say or what you write. As a reporter, there are some boundaries you just don't cross. You know Embiid will react, and you should have expected the response you got from a man who is obviously not pleased with you because you brought his family into it. That's kind of how I look at this whole thing. And for Embiid, if you don't show up to work, there's no doubt about it. The media will come after you. But that doesn't make it okay to talk about someone's family. The Embiid controversy, you know, it reminds me of Kawhi Leonard or Ben Simmons. They are only available when they feel like it and use injuries as excuses not to play. So I understand why people are frustrated. I understand why things are being said. And Joel Embiid doesn't get the benefit of me saying how great of a player he is when he says he may never play back-to-back games ever again, and when he has yet to play a full 82 game season with only 4 of his 8 seasons going over 52 games. And now that I think about it, Embiid missed his first 2 entire seasons, not to mention the fact that he has been overweight and out of shape for a large part of his career, which played a part in causing, if not hindering, the rehab of some of his injuries. In a decade, Embiid has played in more than 60 games just 4 times, 68 being his highest. He's played 51 games twice. He's played in 39 and 31. So therefore, I will say to you, Philly fans are emotionally and mentally tired of Embiid. So I get it. One MVP award does not shield him from criticism, but that columnist may think carefully the next time he writes a column about Embiid. I just thought, that was very unethical and uninviting. It was very inappropriate and wrong. Listen, I've been as critical of Embiid as anybody, but the reporter crossed a major line based on what I read. Embiid has faults. Absolutely no one is doubting that. But you cannot ignore the article that contribute to Embiid's meltdown, which now adds layers of chaos and uncertainty. The article drove Embiid to put his hands on the journalist because he obviously wasn't happy with what was written. And look, you know there are things that's going to be said about you when you are in the public eye. There's no escaping it. Sports writers have different styles, different ways of looking at situations. A lot of them talk about the game like it's a soap opera. We all do. I do that. Embiid's reaction and actions he took are completely understandable. I'm not saying it's the right way to go about it, but I get it. At the end of the day, he's human and he reacted exactly how I would have probably. I don't know about shoving the reporter, but I certainly would have called him out or pulled him to the side and said, hey, I would appreciate it if you don't bring up my family. You can come after me, but my family is off limits. Don't talk about them. One thing you don't play about is my family. Don't play when it comes to my family. Don't mention them or any situation that includes them. You better expect confrontation. I'm Team Embiid. He's absolutely right. I definitely feel Embiid on this one. I'm with him 100%. It wasn't necessary for Hayes to do that. I totally understand why Embiid was heated. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your night to check out the video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave it in the comment column. Tell me what you think about this. What are your thoughts on this story? Especially to all my Philly viewers out there, you guys are local, you guys are there, you guys know more about this story. So tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this? Because I think Hayes was clearly out of pocket. And Embiid was in the wrong too for shoving him. He could have handled it a lot differently. But again, I get it. I understand that he was angry, that it was the heat of the moment. And that's the way he reacted when he saw Hayes in the locker room. So I mean, these these kind of things do transpire, and it happens where a reporter is not liked by a player, or where a reporter and a player is beefing because of something that the reporter wrote that the player didn't like. And I mean, that happens. It just happens. And that's the situation we have here. But I would like to hear from you guys. Tell me what you guys think about it. We'll talk again very soon. I'm getting out of here now. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button. You guys have a good night. Take care, everyone.